So I just finished eating a salad from a convenience store. And after eating the salad, I realized that I have a lot more energy. I felt mentally clear. I don't feel tired. I don't feel lethargic. And I usually feel this way whenever I eat heavy food or whenever I eat like large sized foods. If my lunch or dinner is really big after I finish eating, I feel very, very tired. I want to go into a food coma. I just want to pass out. But that same concept of what you put into your body, you can apply that with anything else in life. If you listen to good content, if you listen to good music, positive music that uplifts you, and not listen to music that's like talks about sex, drugs, all the people's downfall and all the negative stuff, I'm from the hood and all that type of stuff. If you don't obsessively listen to that all the time, your mindset starts to change, right? You start thinking positively when you listen to good music, but when you start listening to hardcore music that talks about, these things, drugs, sex, drinking, parties, all that type of stuff, or even about fighting, you also start feeling that way. I've noticed that. I start feeling, after I listen to like hardcore hip-hop songs, like 50 Cent or whatever, or 3-6 Mafia, or any of that type of musical genre. Before, when I was younger, I vibed to it, I enjoyed it, but now that I'm older, when I listen to it, I've become more sensitive. I've become more sensitive to what I'm listening to because it affects my mood. It affects the way I think. But now I listen to like instrumental music most of the time, like music like orchestra music, or background music from video games and stuff that makes me think about life a lot deeper, and it makes me feel more creative, and I feel calmer. I feel a different sense. Like I've become more sensitive to what I put into my system, even when it comes to food, right? Even when it comes to people who I interact with. I only interact with people who bring good vibes, who bring that same good energy. I don't interact with people who complain all the time or talk about their problems all the time, because that type of stuff rubs off on you. And yeah, all of this thoughts just started happening when I just ate that salad, because I realized what you put in correlates to the output of what you put out. And what you put in affects your mood. It affects, your emotions, the way you think, everything. And it's very interesting, that our bodies react to everything around us. Our brain and our sensories react to everything around us. When you smell beautiful fragrances like, flowers and stuff like that, some of the smells remind you of the past, like happier times, like nostalgic times, that creates nostalgia. Sometimes when you eat certain foods, it can bring pleasure and happiness into your soul, into your heart. And, it's the same thing. Anything you put in, right? And it's very interesting that, life is like this. And I don't think we get this much awareness when we're young. But when we get older, we start gaining more awareness about what we put in or what we expose ourselves to, right? All that type of stuff. Even your environment. If you are constantly in a noisy environment, say you're in a big city and you're constantly hearing the sounds of traffic, horns honking, people crowding all over the place, people talking all the time, and you're surrounded by man-made objects, you will eventually start becoming that type of person, and you might even feel stress because of how fast-paced that lifestyle is. But if you go to the countryside, if you go for a drive in the countryside, if you venture out into nature, don't you notice that you feel a sense of calmness, like a sense of peace? And isn't that the most important thing? That you feel a sense of peace, that you feel good about yourself? That's the most important thing, right? And you only have one life in this world, right? So we need to make the best of it. You know, by having the highest quality input into our lives, whatever we input into ourselves, we need to make sure it's of the highest quality, so we can create quality output to the world. And it's crazy because even when I scroll through YouTube or when I watch certain videos, some of the videos are very graphic. And some of the videos are really, really weird, like so strange, to the point where you're like, oh man, should I just delete this app? Because like this stuff is really messing with my head. It's really messed up. And I don't know, like I don't know how the content doesn't get like, I don't know how the content gets filtered or not. Because some of the content shouldn't even be there on social media. Because it really messes up the way you think. It really messes up your emotions. Some of the content is really graphic, and some of the videos that we watch nowadays on YouTube and stuff like that, it doesn't have a filter, you know. Some videos may warn you, oh, this is about to be very graphic, and you know, viewer discretion is advised. But sometimes you're just scrolling through and you see a video of a guy covered in dirt and mud in his car and singing Skibbity Toilet. You know what I mean? Like, it's just really weird. It's really, really strange videos. But I'm telling you that you really need to be careful about what you expose yourself to, because it affects the way you think. It affects your emotions, and it can also affect your relationships with people. You may start becoming a very aggressive person, even though you don't want to, or maybe a very frustrated person because of what you are listening to, because of what you are watching, because of the environment that you are in. You start becoming this person, which is genuinely not the real you. Everything out there, you know, on social media and the news and everything is out there to grab your attention. It's out there to manipulate you. It's out there to brainwash you. It's out there to distract you. It's out there to make you a consumer, to make you glued to their content. Even the food industry, a lot of the fast food, when I eat fast food, it's pleasurable. It's very delicious to eat McDonald's. But then afterwards, I don't, like, my stomach feels uneasy. I don't feel good about myself. I don't feel motivated to do positive things, in a sense. I just feel very tired. I feel very lazy. And I also associate fast food with doing something else that's unproductive, like playing video games while I'm eating fast food, or watching a Netflix movie while I'm eating fast food. It goes hand in hand, right? It's the same with music too. When I'm listening to like hardcore music about, you know, drugs and sex and you know all this type of stuff, then I start thinking about that stuff more often. My lust starts to increase more. I start thinking about all these things. And then I start envisioning myself as that person. I'm like, yo, I'm a gangster. I get money. You know, like, yo, drugs is cool type of stuff. You know, that's your mentality starts to change. But the moment you stay away from this stuff, or the moment you change the input of what you put in, your output starts to change. It's very important that we are aware or create awareness about what we expose ourselves to, when it comes to people, when it comes to music, when it comes to what we put into our digestive system. Everything, each and every single thing. A lot of these agendas that are happening online about, you know, like, no offense, I have nothing against like LGBTQ and all that stuff. I have nothing against that stuff, but a lot of it has been pushed towards us, like, as the agenda. A lot of it is in video games now. A lot of it is in television shows that we grew up with, but now they're introducing this type of content in there to push their agenda to us, right? And you know, a lot of it is just, you know, we become a very tolerant society where we just tolerate everything is okay to do now. You know, everything is fine to do. You know, it's okay to watch porn and jerk off. it's okay to do drugs. It won't harm you if you do it. It's okay to watch graphic graphic videos on YouTube and stuff like that. Even for children it's okay for them to watch. It's not going to affect them. It's not going to do anything to them. That is totally far from the truth. What it does, it creates more anxiety. It creates more worry. You lose your sense of focus. You lose your sense of self. You start doubting yourself. You start thinking about really messed up things. You start having more nightmares. I've noticed that I've started having more nightmares when I expose myself to certain things that are really on the extreme side. I start getting really strange dreams. And I feel like I get more tired, or I feel more mentally exhausted when I am putting things in, exposing my five senses to the wrong things. I start, feeling very tired. Like I don't feel like, working on anything in my life. I don't feel like talking to people. I don't feel like doing any of these things when I expose myself to bad content or bad things. So I highly recommend, that if you're watching this video, just be more aware of what you present yourself with, right? And try to make some changes. You can still enjoy whatever whatever you want to input, just maybe do it to a minimum, right? Because going cold turkey on certain things may be very difficult for us, right? But with anything, there is always a better option. Anything in life, there's always a better option for you out there. But it's just a matter of you being aware of that.